My review of the Phil Ochs album Pleasures of the Harbor. It was released in 1967 and produced by Larry Marks. So I have two copies of this on vinyl. I got both of them off eBay. One of them I bought in like a lot of 4 other albums, and it's just a regular copy, and this is a promotional copy, so I just kind of kept both of them because they were a little bit different. So this is the first of his A&M records. He goes in a really different direction here from his Electra records. This isn't just him with an acoustic guitar anymore. He has like full orchestration on this album. So he goes in a really different direction. The songs are kind of topical and a little bit less like directly political on here. And some of them really aren't like political at all. I think he wanted this album to be kind of his big breakthrough album commercially. And I mean, it wasn't, but you can tell that a lot of work was put into this, and that it's a really like, I don't know, just an album that a lot of effort was put into, and that he kind of had high hopes for. I don't think it completely like works on like every level, but I do think that it's my favorite of his albums that I've reviewed so far, and I think it's got a lot of good stuff on it. The album opens with Cross My Heart. I think it's a great opening track. It's not a political song. It's got great lyrics, I think. I think the performance by Phil is really great. And I really like the orchestration on it. I like the orchestration on pretty much the whole album, especially the piano playing on a lot of it. I think the piano player's name was Lincoln Mayorga. I'm sorry, I probably butchered that last name, but that guy's all over this album, and I really like his playing. So yeah, Cross My Heart, great opening track. Really big fan of that one. The second track, Flower Lady, this was the first song off this album that I heard, and it was one of my favorite Phil songs from like early on. It's a little bit long, but I just think he has a great melody on it. I think the lyrics are great. It's kind of sad, but I don't know. It's just such a beautiful song. His performance is great. I feel like, to me at least, Phil's a really underrated melody writer. Really, I think what kind of draws me to his music most of all is his melodies, and then probably his voice second after that. More so than even like the lyrics or what he's singing about. But yeah, this song is just a great song, and definitely a highlight on the album. The third track, Outside a Small Circle of Friends, I'm pretty sure this was the single off this album, which I can kind of see why it wouldn't have been a huge hit, but I think it's a great track. It's got these really dark lyrics kind of contrasted with this really upbeat arrangement. It's kind of, I don't know what you'd call it, kind of like an old-timey, like, I guess like maybe ragtime type of sound, and I really like that. I think that the arrangement of it's great. I love the drumming on it. I think Phil's performance on it's really great. The lyrics are great. Really catchy song. So another huge highlight for me, Outside a Small Circle of Friends. The fourth track, I've Had Her. This one, it's kind of a, I don't know if I would call it a love song, but it's one of the non-political songs on here. I like the piano on it a lot. I think it has a really pretty melody vocally, and I think Phil sounds great on it. It's not one of my like top favorite songs off this album, but it's one that I wouldn't like skip. The fifth track, Miranda, is my favorite song on the album probably. It's another one that's not political. It's probably the most like lightweight song on the album, I guess, at least the least depressing, I feel like. I love the arrangement of it. It's another one that has one of those kind of like old-timey sounds to it. Another one where I love the drumming on it. I think Phil's vocals are really good. Just like an insanely catchy song. This is the one I feel like I would have probably released as a single if I had been like the one choosing. But yeah, I think it's a great song. Now, side 2 is kind of where I have more problems with this album. So the sixth track, The Party, which begins side 2, is probably my least favorite song on here. I don't hate it or anything. It's kind of like a more jazzy song about like a piano player, like watching all these snobs at a party. I think it's got some good lines in it, lyrically. To me, it's just not like as catchy as some of the other songs. I'm not crazy about the hook part of the song. I can't remember all the lyrics. It was something about crawling beneath the rug and retuning his piano. And that part of the song, I was playing this album on Sunday when I was hanging out with my brother this weekend, and he was like, "Yeah, I don't really like that part," and I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know. To me, it's not like the best hook that he ever came up with." So the party, not my favorite on here. I don't think it's bad or anything. I don't think it would make like a playlist of Phil, but I enjoy most of it well enough while it's on. I do think it has some really cool piano playing in it. The 7th track, the title track, Pleasures of the Harbor. Now this is kind of weird because I love this song. I'm not so crazy about the version of it that's on this album. There's a version of it on the Gunfight at Carnegie Hall live album, and that version is amazing. Like, it just blows this version out of the water. And really, like, I think what makes the difference is that version, like, he just ups the tempo a little bit, like he sings a little bit faster, and I think that makes a lot of difference. Here it's kind of slow and like dirgy, and I like the orchestration, but it also, like, I don't know, it kind of makes this version sound like it's from like a 1930s Disney movie or something, like it could fit in Pinocchio. I don't know, it's just kind of, this version of it doesn't work for me as well as that live version. I mean, I don't hate it or anything, and it's kind of grown on me, but it's just a little too slow, like, for it to work. But I love the song. I think the lyrics are great. It's got one of my favorite melodies that he has. So yeah, Pleasures of the Harbor, great song, but just this version of it isn't my favorite. And then the 8th and final track, The Crucifixion. So this one's kind of weird because it's got all this crazy orchestration and crazy sound effects and stuff going off. And the first couple times I heard it, I thought I didn't like it because of all that stuff. And it's grown on me more and more as I listen to it. I think this is a song that Phil, I think, was really proud of, from what I understand. Like, I think lyrically and stuff, he thought it was one of the best things he ever wrote. I think that, like, personally for me, and I hate to like disagree with the guy, but I think that the lyrics are what kind of stand out in this song, and maybe like he was a little too focused on the lyrics, because as far as like the melody and stuff goes from it, it sounds to me like he was kind of borrowing parts from like Here's to the State of Mississippi and things like that. So it's not my favorite, like, melody wise. I don't think it's as catchy as some of his other songs, and it just, like I said, it sounds like he's like kind of borrowing stuff from things that he did before. And he, I think, personally later said that he thought that the orchestration and stuff on it on this album kind of failed and kind of ruined the song. I kind of disagree with that, because like I thought I agreed with that initially, like going into it, but the more and more I listen to the song, the more I find that my fault with it's kind of with the melody. So I feel like all the orchestration and extra stuff kind of saves it to me and makes it a little more interesting. I mean, I do think the lyrics are great. I think that there are some good parts of melody on here, but I just think that, to me, I hear certain parts of it, and I just start hearing Here's to the State of Mississippi. So, yeah, not my favorite song on here, but I do like it. I don't think it'd make like a playlist, but I think that just the way it is, and it's kind of structured is to be this big epic closing number. So I do think it kind of works as that, but not my favorite. And I don't think I would like it any less without all the extra orchestration and stuff like that. Like, I think that kind of adds to it. Or, I mean, I don't think I'd like it more without any of that stuff. Like, I think that stuff adds to it and kind of improves it a little bit for me. So Phil Ochs, Pleasures of the Harbor. I do think it's a really good album. I don't think it's a perfect album. I think that there's a few kind of like missteps here and there, especially on the second half of it. And it's not my favorite of the A&M records, but this is like my favorite, the beginning of my favorite era of his music. And I think that, you know, he got off to a really good start with this one. It's just kind of, I don't know, it's kind of a depressing album, so some people might not be into it for that. And some people might have problems with the production and like the arrangement and orchestration and stuff like that. Personally, I love this kind of production. It's one of like my favorite types of production, when they just go over the top with all this kind of stuff. So I really like this album. I don't know if I would recommend this the most highly of his A&M records. I think that he kind of has stuff that's a little easier to get into. But I think that this is one of the albums of his that like everybody should hear at least once, because it's just got some really great stuff on it. So Phillips Pleasures of the Harbor, I highly recommend it, but I'm not sure if I would start here with his albums, because it is very different from a lot of his albums. He just goes like harder into the orchestration and stuff on this album than he does with anything else. But yeah, Phillips Pleasures of the Harbor, really underrated album, and more people should hear it.